It's been weeks, maybe months, and you're still checking their profile at midnight, still replaying the last conversation, still hoping for a text that isn't coming. Everyone around you calls it sadness, calls it grief, tells you time heals it. None of that is quite what's happening in your brain, and a scientist named Helen Fisher spent years proving it. Fisher had already spent a decade scanning the brains of people who were happily, deeply in love. She knew exactly what that looked like on a screen. What she wanted to know next was darker. What does the brain look like when that love gets ripped away, while the feeling is still fully there? So she found 15 people, all recently rejected, all still completely in love with the person who left them, still thinking about them most of their waking hours, still hoping they'd come back. She put them in a brain scanner and showed them 2 photos, back to back, a neutral face they'd never seen before, and a photo of the person who broke their heart. The neutral photo did almost nothing. The photo of their ex lit up something specific, the ventral tegmental area, the ventral striatum, regions tied to craving, to motivation, to addiction. The same regions that light up in a brain craving cocaine. Not metaphorically, the same physical circuitry. Here's why that makes sense once you understand what love actually is, mechanically. Fisher's broader research split romantic love into 3 separate systems, running on 3 separate chemicals. Lust, driven mostly by testosterone. Attachment, the calm, bonded, secure feeling, driven by oxytocin. And in between those 2, attraction, the obsessive, can't stop thinking about them system. That one runs on dopamine. Dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical people think it is. It's the wanting chemical. It fires hardest not when you get the reward, but when you're chasing something uncertain, which is exactly what heartbreak is, the most uncertain version of a reward your brain has ever tracked. So when someone leaves, you'd expect that dopamine system to shut off. Instead, in Fisher's data, it got louder, because uncertainty is the exact condition that system was built to respond to. Losing them didn't end the wanting. It removed the one thing that used to satisfy it, while leaving the craving itself running at full strength. That's why heartbreak doesn't feel like sadness. Sadness is usually about something that's finished. This isn't finished to the part of your brain running the craving. It's an open loop, still searching for the thing that used to close it. And this is exactly why staying in occasional contact makes it worse, not better. A reward you get every single time stops gripping you eventually. Your brain learns to expect it and moves on. But a reward you only get sometimes, an unpredictable reply, an occasional like, a random late-night message, is the single hardest pattern for a brain to let go of. It's the same mechanism a slot machine runs on. Not because slot machines pay out often, because they pay out unpredictably. Checking their profile isn't comforting you, it's pulling the lever again. Which is also why heartbreak fades the way an addiction fades, not the way a bad memory fades. Slowly, physically, on its own timeline. Not because you decided to be over it, and not because you found a clever argument that convinced you. Time has to actually pass while that circuit calms back down, the same way it does after you stop feeding any other craving. So if you've ever felt embarrassed about checking their photo again, about wanting to text something you know you shouldn't send, about how long this is taking when everyone else seems to have moved on faster, that wasn't weakness. That was a system built over millions of years to make sure you didn't give up on a bond easily, doing exactly what it was built to do, aimed at someone who was never coming back. You weren't grieving, you were withdrawing. And withdrawal always takes longer than anyone standing outside it thinks it should.